That was horrible.
Oh my god. Is that it? Oh god. It's the bees. Oh, I'm Nicolas Cage and the bees are everywhere.
Bees are everywhere.
Oh, I stole the Declaration of Independence.
That was a pretty good Nic Cage.
It was like, okay.
Try again. Do another one.
What do you want me to say?
Say
I'm here all week. What do you got? I can give you a Nic Cage bit.
I took the lumberjack to the store.
I took the lumberjack to the store.
Okay, that was pretty good.
I was like, okay.
I took the lumberjack to the store.
That's not bad, yeah.
It's me, Nicolas Cage.
You're getting there. That's better.
I think I'm getting it. I listened to him a lot.
You've been doing a lot of like Keanu Reeves as Jack. What was it?
John.
I was gonna say Jack
Hello,
Ryan, and that's a
John
whole
Wick.
other thing.
Wait, you do a John Wick and I'll do a Nicolas Cage. Ready?
I'm thinking I'm back.
Okay, pretty good.
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking I'm back.
Is that Nicolas Cage as Keanu
I
Reeves
was
as John
hired
Wick?
for this movie, and I don't know why.
That's
was
pretty
him.
great.
That was Nicolas Cage on the set of John Wick 5 when Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
They expire?
he
Is that what happens
expired?
to actors when they do not act
Is
anymore?
that what happens? Actors expire?
They expire.
I think that maybe this was my last movie.
Oh my gosh.
Nicolas Cage is hard.
I feel like he's a little hard because he's like kind of a normal person.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
He just got tinges of these things that make him sound distinct from other people. It's hard.
He's a guy who's also simultaneously the best and the worst actor.
Yes.
Ever
I don't know
known.
how he does it, but it's
But I love
incredible.
him for it.
Yeah. So should we talk about what we did this week?
Or
this
announce
movie we
ourselves.
watched?
Hi, Isaac, co-host of the podcast.
Hello. What were you going to do?
Hi, Isaac.
No, dang it, I'm slipping back into John Wick
Oh my
again.
God. Hello, Derek, other co-host of the podcast. What podcast is that, you might ask?
That was horrible.
And what do we do on That Was Horrible?
Make stupid jokes.
and simultaneously become Keanu Reeves.
We watch and review the worst rated horror movies in the community, and then we steal the Declaration of Independence.
What's something else Nicolas Cage did?
And then rob a gas station.
I literally know him for doing one thing, and then also like Ghost Rider. Those are the two movies of my
Really?
childhood. It was
You
like
should-
National Treasure and Ghost Rider.
You should probably expand your Nicolas Cage repertoire.
get into the Nicolas Cageverse.
I mean, you hated Mandy. I personally loved Mandy.
It just fucked with me. It was just a wild movie that like grossed me out to no end. Like that end scene where he's just smiling all covered in blood. Like that
great.
haunts me. It's
classic.
terrifying.
I love it. Well, I don't know if it's classic, but
But if you couldn't have guessed from this like 9-minute bit we've started out with,
that was only like 8.
that's so many minutes.
No, it was 2 minutes.
so many
I
minutes.
looked.
Feels like 12. So that 15-minute bit that you just heard about us riffing on Nicolas Cage's voice should lead you to assume we watched a Nicolas Cage horror movie this week,
We
right?
watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That's not the one we watched.
That was like his first movie, though.
Oh, nice. You know, this was like his second horror movie that
Was
he
it?
did. Yeah, but I will tell
it
you about
actually?
that. Count's Trivia will tell you more later.
Oh, cool.
By law, I cannot. I'm like legally. Listen, Derek, he'll kill me.
I just saw
He'll kill me
some
if I-
hand slip in under the door
Uh-huh.
and point at you.
Yeah, no, like I will not. Oh, he's holding up a card. It's not a trivia card though. It just says it just says I will kill you, but he spelled it with a V. That's the weird part.
It's me, Nicolas Cage.
No, dang it! I keep making it Keanu Reeves. He's
That's
so
terrible.
hard. I like have to like smile. Real,
Yeah,
no one can see what I'm doing.
It's tough, but yeah. So this week we
you get it.
watched The Wicker Man from 2006,
2006.
which is technically a remake of the movie from 1973 with Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
You can tell us more about that, I think.
We will. All right. It's bonkers to me because so we watched The Wicker Man 2006, right?
Yep.
I thought that it was another Howling situation where the movie wasn't related at all to the other one. Well, it turns out, in fact, that the movie is almost 80% the same script.
Well, yeah, also, like, that was the thing, like, things we had read online said, oh, these movies are completely disconnected 100%.
Yeah.
But then everything we looked about afterwards was like, no, these movies are quite similar in plot structure and even dialogue.
Which is crazy.
Which, again, Count Trivia is, he's holding a gun. I don't know why a vampire needs a gun, but if I say anything more, I'm
What?
done for.
Wait, there's a steak in the gun.
What?
Like a juicy,
Like a
medium rare
juicy-
steak.
But completely drained of blood.
Oh, of course. Well, it's myoglobin anyway. It's not blood, sir.
Oh my
But
god.
science Jim can-
We get it, you're a chef.
No,
we
stop.
get it, you're a chef.
Hey, that was good.
Get it. Yeah, I think I found it.
Oh, that's it.
It's
Bro.
like it's right here.
It's right here.
And
That's it.
And in this movie, I'm gonna find my daughter.
And I didn't know it was my daughter until halfway through the movie.
It was a pretty convoluted
It was
plot
a plot
line.
line that didn't make any sense.
And I wanted it to be more like Inception, but we
Yeah.
never really got there.
Does it sound like two Nicolas
It's-
Cages are talking to each other?
It's like almost. It's like he spent a week of his childhood in California because like he's almost got like surfer bro vibe to him. It hangs on that.
And then I decided to become an actor.
Yeah,
And
see,
when I was an actor,
I think that's the trick. Is
Yeah,
like
I
it's
think you're
almost
right.
surfer bro, which
You're right.
but like not at all at the same time. That's super
No.
weird.
I want to go surfing with the pros.
Yeah, I mean it checks out.
And when I'm surfing, I'm gonna make a movie.
What are you gonna call this movie, Nic Cage?
Surfing Bros.
That's very clever. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, I'll be back.
I like how we have crazy characters we've created up out of nothing, and then like sometimes now Nicolas Cage is gonna walk in, just regular ass Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage has always been here. It's in your heart.
Nicolas Cage lives on forever.
My
And it's a
Nicolas
voice both of
Cage
us can
will
do.
Go on.
I've also noticed if we try to do each other's characters, it's like I can't do Bawhead Bax
Ready?
and you can't do Gooper.
Ready for my Gooper?
Yeah.
It's me, Cooper.
Oh my god, this is as bad as your Kermit the Frog bit. So tell us about
Okay.
the movie.
Yeah, so-
Wicker Man, 2006.
Wicker Man is a remake of the 1980s?
73.
73.
Mhm.
So 1973 movie called The Wicker Man came out. And then for some reason, 33 years later, they were like, you know what? Let's do it again.
I think it's time. No, see, that was too. Damn it.
That's too Keanu.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so I know we were so close to starting to talk
Oh
about
my
it.
god,
Another side tangent.
we've lost
What's
like all
the
12 of our
difference?
listeners.
What's That's more than 12 now. What's the difference between Nicolas Cage and Keanu Reeves?
I don't know, Derek. What's the difference?
Absolutely nothing. like just think about it for a second, right? They're both extremely nice men.
Yeah.
They both pretty much will do any role that's given to them.
I sincerely feel like
Super
there are
weird
not
role.
there are not many roles that are not interchangeable between the two of them. Like I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
like Nicolas Cage could be John Wick.
And like
I feel like I could see Keanu Reeves in the one we just watched. I could see him playing
Absolutely.
Edward in the Wicker Man.
Oh yeah, 100%. Also, I could totally see Nicolas Cage being swapped out for Keanu Reeves in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I never actually saw that movie.
That's true.
But like I would watch a movie
The
about
premise is
people
still
being
there,
fans of Keanu.
and I could definitely and still kind of want to see Keanu Reeves play the Ghost Rider because I think that would be kick-ass.
incredible.
That would be so good.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I want skinny, lanky Nicolas Cage to play Neo in The Matrix.
oh my god,
Yes,
that
it's
works.
me, Mr. Anderson.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Will you tell me about the movie?
Yeah,
please?
I'll tell you about the movie. Okay, so this one was made in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It was written and directed by Neil LaBute.
Mm-hmm.
Neil LaBute. I don't know if that's actually how to say. It's LABUTE. So take that as you will.
La Beauty.
And you know, same writer and director.
It does not always lead us in the best directions.
No, but it seems like this guy has done better things. You know, this was one of his earlier movies, and he's still going.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. So he's actually not out of the game yet. This didn't kill his career.
Yeah, so there was a TV show called Van Helsing that he wrote. I don't know any.
There was a Van Helsing TV show?
Yeah, but I think Van Helsing was a. Yep, it is. It's interesting. I don't know, man.
That's all you got.
I feel like I'll get in trouble for talking about it, so I'm not going to.
All right.
Yeah, it looks kind of actually. Okay, I'm gonna make a comparison here. It seems like
Go,
someone
make a comparison.
tried to recreate Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
But with Van
but
Helsing.
with Van Helsing.
Yeah, I can see how that was probably destined for failure a little bit.
Vanessa Helsing, distant relative
Stop.
of famous vampire hunter
Stop.
Abraham Van Helsing,
Stop.
is resurrected
now.
only to find that vampires have taken over the world.
Van is short for Vanessa Helsing.
dog.
You've got to be real.
I am being real.
Oh my God.
It is a very real thing. I mean, it doesn't have bad reviews. Maybe I'll check that out. It's over now, but it did last like 4 seasons.
Oh wow, okay, that's way more than I thought.
He's also doing the American Gigolo show that's currently on Showtime. So
I know nothing about this.
me neither. It just has that one guy in it.
Oh yeah, of course, everyone knows.
No, the guy John Bernthal from Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, did he die? Probably. I think everybody died in that movie.
Oh.
TV show.
Probably you're right.
Not in real life.
I was like, John Bernthal's dead? No.
I mean, anyway, so this movie also had 7 nominations.
For
Seven
what, though?
nominations. All right, you've got Worst Picture.
Are we talking like Razzie nominations?
Yes. So,
okay.
well, not just Razzie.
Yeah.
So it had 5 Razzies.
Okay.
1 Canadian Society, 1 Golden Schmoes, 2
Golden
Stinkers.
Schmoes.
So it had 7 noms and 2 wins.
Ooh, okay. Please
So
tell.
9
Please
total
share.
nominations.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking at Best Picture, Worst. Oh.
I was like, wait, hold on.
Okay.
You're back.
Razzies. Nominee, Worst Picture.
Okay.
Nominee, Worst Actor, Nicolas Cage.
Ooh.
Nominee, Worst Screen Couple, Nicolas Cage and his bear suit.
Yeah.
Nominee.
Tell me that's a joke. Does it really say
literally-
that?
It literally says
It's not.
that.
It does not say Nicolas Cage and the girl that played his romantic interest in the
literally
show.
says that.
That's
And
incredible.
I love that
As
a
a
lot.
couple.
I think it's doing a bit.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's incredible. I love
Razzie's
that
very
so much.
funny. Worst remake or ripoff. Worst screenplay, Neil Leboutet.
Mhm.
And then the Canadian Society of Cinematographers said best cinematography in a theatrical feature, and it won.
Okay.
So, I mean,
You know, these things always make me wonder, like, one against what? Like, what was the competition here?
yeah, I would really like to know the other nominations. And I mean, I will say, though, the cinematography wasn't bad.
It never really bothered me throughout the movie.
No, it was kind of just there. I was watching the movie.
And sometimes I wonder, especially in these, like, you know, the poorly rated horror movies, like, is it a good thing if these things don't stick out to me? Because there
I
are
think
some
so.
things that we can get into later, but it's like, you know, there's some parts of this where, like, usually I would write about, like, oh, the cinematography was terrible or the music bothered me. But if those are not notes that I made, but also I didn't write about how they were good, is it still a good thing that I just said nothing about it?
It's
It
very interesting.
serves its purpose, and I guess that's all it needs to do sometimes.
It's kind of how I felt about the music, too.
Yeah.
The music was just kind of there.
Yeah, not like very standout soundtrack, you know. Unless you count like Nicolas Cage screaming as a screamo.
Oh, babe.
Pretty good.
Worst movie of the year for the Golden Schmoes.
Of the year
Nominee
Ooh.
again. Worst actor nominee for Nicolas Cage. And worst remake was the second winner for the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
Yikes! Sorry, stinkers.
So Wicker Man, you did really good.
Yeah.
You did really good.
Wicker
at the
Man,
Oscars that year.
you're the winner. You made it out on top.
the
this time
winner
around.
man.
Wicker Man, more like Winner Man.
So
Wicker, I hardly know her.
is that I think that's the first time we've ever done that in this podcast.
There's no way.
I think it might
In
be.
our day-to-day lives, we make so many hardly know her jokes.
It's probably because it's slightly offensive.
Yeah, I get that.
But we don't mean it offensive. We're
no,
just
of
being
course.
silly
We're just being a
little,
bunch of stupid, silly little
Nicolas
silly guys.
Cager, I hardly know.
Oh my god. Moving on.
That joke was terrible.
Oh no.
It was Anthony Schaefer was the guy who wrote the original movie.
Yeah.
And he was also credited.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, though, it's kind of sad. He was dead when this movie came out.
Oh no.
So I don't think he would have been happy about his name being
Probably
there.
rolling in his grave a little
He
bit.
probably would have been like, hey, maybe don't put me on that. But
Mhm.
if the truth is that 80% of the script was the original script, he probably deserved a credit on there because I think he wrote it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's Wicker Man.
That's Wicker Man. You
No,
got anything
I
as far as...
I have a lot more to talk about, actually.
I was gonna say,
I
like,
was
usually have like budget and
No,
stuff, or
Nicolas Cage took over my brain and shifted around my tabs.
that's still a little John Wick.
It's a little. I think the difference between John Wick.
We should have like a fun game, like a poll where it's like, who said this line, John Wick or John Wick or John Wick or Nicolas Cage, or I guess Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage.
Okay, ready?
Yeah,
I
go.
got one for
Well,
you.
I don't know, because I feel like John Wick specifically sounds a little different than Keanu Reeves does. I feel like
Yeah.
all of Nicolas Cage's characters sound the
Nicolas
same.
Cage is John Wick.
They're all the same.
So, I mean, if you told me John Wick was a Nicolas Cage character, I would just believe you.
I would
Because
believe it too.
It makes sense.
So what else you got? Or where were you going? I felt like you were going
I
somewhere.
was definitely
with your
going
bit.
somewhere, but it's fine. Rotten Tomatoes for this movie was 15%. Yuck. Audience score was 17. Letterboxd was 1.9. Metacritic 36. IMDb 3.8. So it's kind of all around the same ballpark.
Yeah.
You know, it's all, everyone's
Everyone
sitting around
kind
3.
of agreed. It's just like this movie was mid.
Mid-low.
Mhm.
Low-mid.
Yeah.
Low-mid.
Mid.
Lamid. Chlamydia. That's a sexually transmitted disease. This movie had a budget of $40 million, and if you could take a gander at how much of this movie's budget got made back,
Uh-huh.
what would you think?
Probably it was 40 million.
Yeah, $40 million.
40 million? Like
Most of that movie was my
like
paycheck.
20 million.
That's pretty generous.
Oh, really?
But actually, it was 38 million.
Oh, okay, so not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess bad in the sense that they did lose money, but
They did lose money for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, no, still
More than
not.
I was expecting. I
Still
expected
not.
them to only make like half of that bad.
Right. All right. So what were your expectations?
For expectations, you want to read some reviews
Oh, yeah.
firsthand?
I forgot.
I got them up.
I forgot that we did a podcast.
Yeah, it's only been it's been gone a week. It's been such a week.
And I have become someone new.
And I was gonna say, I think you forgot because you spent so much of your week just like practicing how to talk like Nicolas Cage.
I've just had him like talking in my head.
So Chris Stuckman of chrisstuckman.com.
I love Chris Stuckman.
He says, sometimes a movie hits the rarest of heights. In fact, some may refer to it as a low, but a film that's so utterly bad it's actually good, is what he says for this one.
I'm going to
That's
need
a
you
lot.
to do another one.
Sure, yeah, I got you. I'll just keep riffing here.
Yeah, just keep going.
Brian Tallarico of UGO or Yugo, I don't know, says, in the final act of The Wicker Man, when Nicolas Cage has... I don't know, that's a spoiler, should I? It's
Yeah,
fine. There's a
it's
bear
fine.
suit. When Nicolas Cage has donned a bear suit, you have to wonder just what it is you're watching. And then I keep going.
I mean, I'm having fun just listening to you.
Kim Newman, who we see a few times now, Kim Newman's got a couple reviews we read of Empire Magazine, just says simply, bad idea, period. Bad film, period.
And I'll finish it out
Yes.
with Jeremy C. Fox, who said Neil LaBute's remake of The Wicker Man is a stupid, stupid movie.
Oh, man.
I love that.
Love
It's
it.
so good.
It's great. I enjoy reading these reviews where people just like rake things through the mud sometimes.
Right.
They can be pretty brutal, but I guess it's like honest, so it's fair.
One day our podcast will be on Rotten Tomatoes and Chris Stuckman will come and talk about our podcast.
Can you imagine getting like sponsored by Rotten Tomatoes?
That'd
Like,
be
That'd
incredible.
be wild.
If only they knew how much we use their website.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
And then
incredible.
we'll get like a cease and desist where they're like, stop using our website for content, please.
And they'll send Nicolas Cage to our door.
Oh my
You
god.
need to stop.
That's how
using
we get to
that
meet Nic
website.
Cage. So for me, my expectations, I said probably a very convoluted plot line that will leave me scratching my head just because we watched the trailer for this and I was
Yeah.
already so lost on where this thing was going to try to go. I said the bees scene, which both of us know and love from before. Like that's the only reason I know this movie is because of that meme of him shouting about the bees covered in them. But I figure that bees scene will probably be the only highlight of this film, is what I wrote.
Absolutely.
And then I was expecting some kind of like Inception twist ending where like maybe the girl that died in the beginning was like his daughter all along. Some weird, I don't know, some strange twist is basically what I was expecting. I expected some Midsummer cult vibes, but in the same vein as like the Da Vinci Cone movies. Like I felt like
Da Vinci
Cone. Yeah, exactly. It's where he shares the Declaration of Independence. There's nowhere that can go. That pun
Wait.
can't go anywhere.
Are you mixing up National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code right
Yes, yes, I am. I realized that after I wrote the note, I was like, "Oh no, I wrote the Da Vinci Code."
My favorite Nicolas Cage movie
Nicolas
was
Cage
The Da Vinci
and
Code.
The Da Vinci Code. It's his parody movie because he was successful off the National Treasure movies. He's like, well, the Da Vinci Code was like something similar, but like, how can we make this parody and still legal Da Vinci Code?
That's really funny.
We're really
you don't
it's just
even
like the Illuminati triangle, but it's like a traffic cone instead with an eyeball painted on it.
And then the trailer, he's like flipping through all the dollars in his wallet.
Yep.
What's this? It's the code.
It's the code. So yeah, the same vein as the National Treasure movies is what I would like to
There it
say
is.
instead. Just
National
'cause
Cones are-
the general like aesthetic and like filtering of the movie just made it seem like that to me. And then it is like on the interwebs, the Googles like to tell me that it is a horror/mystery thriller, and so I'm like, okay, horror first. We'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
But in this one, I definitely thought it'd be more mystery thriller than horror movie.
Absolutely.
That was my expectation. I didn't, honestly, through the trailer, I'm like, not a lot of this is seeming very horror movie at all.
For sure.
Yeah. So what about you? Your expectations?
Yeah, it's kind of along the same vein. Insane plot that is just made to tease emotion. I thought it'd be like a Pixar style whiplash of like emotion that
Yeah.
was just random.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, in the trailer, you see that this little girl dies or something. I'm like, okay, well, so the whole movie is just going to be us getting reminded how this little girl died or something.
And boy, were we.
Oh boy. And then Nicolas Cage. Just that.
Just that? Period?
That's all I wrote. Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
I just love him.
We were struggling to write expectations for this
We
one.
really were. And I think that's okay, we haven't seen the original Wicker Man. Don't Wicker Man
Forgive us.
But we plan on watching it now. Honestly, I do. I think it sounds very fascinating.
I'd be
And I
down.
would like to I would like to watch a good version of this
Yeah, if we
movie.
watch it, we'll come back and let you know what we thought.
Yeah, just give us 5 seconds. Ah, dang it, that didn't work.
No.
Sometimes I close my eyes and I wonder if it's just going to work. And
But in the magical world of editing, it all is possible.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that.
That's honest. That's fair.
Really weird pagan stuff. You know, just like maybe like pagan rituals and stuff aren't necessarily weird, but they tend to be presented that way.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate. So I was kind of expecting it to be not like super literal and probably would make some people mad who are paganists and stuff like that. Stupid effects. Period. And then way too long. I thought that this movie would just feel too long, be too long, you know, be another 14-hour movie.
All of the above.
All right, before we dive in, I got a little game for you.
Okay.
Just like a little segment.
I'm a little nervous.
Welcome, one and all, to Is It a John Wick quote or a Nicolas Cage quote?
You're fucking with me. You're absolutely shitting me right now. No way.
All right. First one, Isaac.
Nothing's ever a conversation with you.
Oh God, I'm gonna go Nic Cage on that one.
This is from John Wick Chapter
Damn.
3.
This would be a lot better
John
if I'd
Wick.
actually seen all the John Wick movies except for the fourth one.
And it kind of makes it better. Okay, got another one for you. Are you ready? This is number 2, Isaac. You're
I'm
currently
sitting
0
right
to
next
1.
to you. When did you have time to prep this?
I'm a smart guy.
I like both Blu-ray and DVD, but Blu-ray gives you more options.
That's Nic Cage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's something Nic Cage would say for sure.
All right.
You wanted me back. I'm thinking I'm back.
Oh man, Ugh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Keanu Reeves, John Wick on this
very
one.
good, very good. I'm impressed that you heard it.
And
There's this is number 3.
oh, okay. Wait, this is 4 now.
This is number 4.
Gosh, you're lost in your own game. This is just for you to do more voice work.
No, it's funny.
There's a fine line between the method actor and the schizophrenic.
I feel like that's a Nic Cage as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Nic Cage.
It's weird. The two of them definitely say very different things from each other.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Everybody take a quick breather. Isaac, do a riff. Riff on something.
Do
real
our
quick.
riff. A beep-a-da-ba-doo-ba-da-da.
Okay, good work. Okay, now we're switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves quote or Nicolas Cage quote. I realize that it's very obvious when it's from
When it's specifically John Wick. Okay, yeah.
Starting over. New theme song. Ba 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 ba. Is it Keanu Reeves or Nicolas Cage? Then there's like a girl walking
Da-da.
along with a sign. Okay.
Don't lose the best thing in your life just because you aren't sure.
Is that a Keanu?
That's a Nicolas.
That's a
Like,
Nick.
Nicolas.
Damn.
All right, number 2. This is for the win.
Uh-huh.
Nothing ever truly dies. The universe wastes nothing. Everything is simply transformed.
Oh, Lord. I feel like either of them could say this kind of shit. Is that Nicolas Cage?
That was a Keanu Reeves.
I
Keanu
knew I was going to
Reeves.
regret that decision.
All right, this one.
I thought that was for the what?
That was for the win. This is for the loss.
Okay.
All the dreams I dream are nightmares, and all the
This is Nicolas
nightmares
Cage.
are the ones I live.
This is Nicolas
That's
Cage.
Keanu Reeves.
What? He seems like such an easygoing guy. I feel like Nicolas Cage is the one that has like monsters in his closet.
No. They're both tormented. Are you
Oh
kidding
my
me?
God.
And Isaac, you had 2 points.
What
What
does that mean? I get to win?
The game had 12. So
No way. I had to get more right than that.
you have 12 minutes in heaven with Gooper in the closet.
Oh no, I don't want. Come in the closet with me. It's slimy.
Ballhead's mad about it. All right,
I'm mad about it. I thought I agreed I would never bring Gooper back to this podcast.
You understand, as soon as you do something like that, it's coming back every
and
episode.
you put me on the spot for it. I can't. The fans want Gooper.
I hope-
we've already made T-shirts.
I thought we weren't telling anybody about that.
Oops.
We already signed a deal with McDonald's to do the Gooper shake.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
It's gonna trend on Twitter.
Oh my
and on
God.
TikTok.
Can I just say how incredible it is that like McDonald's went to such an effort to bring back a beloved character, put forth so much money for the marketing of it, and then the internet gets their hands on
Yeah,
him and
man.
turn him into this cosmic horror.
It's incredible.
I've never been more proud of the internet. It's pretty fucked up.
It
but,
is,
like,
but it's incredible
it's
as well.
so- yeah.
And I just love the idea that out there there. There's this purple monster who, whenever you drink its drink, it murders.
Grimace is now a cryptid, 100%.
You know who else is a cryptid?
Nah.
Nothing in this movie. You want to get started on it?
Yeah, let's get going here for a Grimace-free review of The Wicker Man.
It's me, Grimace. How does Grimace talk?
I don't know. Maybe like that?
It's me, Grimace.
I don't want Grimace on this podcast. He's out. He's leaving.
It's pretty close to my Mrs. Piggy.
So Nicolas Cage starts this movie. He's a cop. He's like a motorcycle cop in like this small town where like it seems like he's doing pretty mundane work. All until one day he sees there's a car driving in front of him and this little girl throws a doll out of the side of it. He's like, well, I got to scoop this up. So like cool
Super
motorcycle guy
badass.
fashion. He like scoops it up without even stopping the motorcycle, pulls them over and then is like, hey, you dropped this doll. I came to return it, right?
Yeah. Then he hands the doll to the girl. She's like, give my doll. And she grabs the doll
such a dick about
and
it.
throws it back out the window.
Yeah, the mom's like, sorry, officer, won't happen again. Then the little girl just throws it out the window again.
Did you just yeet?
I just yeet.
Did you just yeet?
She yeeted the doll. The yeet must be yoted.
We don't yeet.
You must eat the yote. Yote. All God's children yote.
The y'all.
Y'all?
Y'all, come on in. We're eating and yelling.
Y'all, come on in. We're eating and we're yoting.
Ooh. Wow, that transpired.
Wow.
Okay, anyway.
We're never going to finish this review.
Probably not. So we've been Nuts Was Horrible. Hey, I haven't done that in a really long time.
Tried to stop the podcast in the middle of it.
Are you proud of me?
A little bit.
Are you
but
proud of
can I keep going now?
Sure.
So yeah, so she throws the doll outside of the car again. He's like, no worries, ma'am, it's all part of the job. And so he goes to pick it up, and when he goes to pick it up, just this semi-truck just slams right into the car with the mother and this child in the back, and then it's caught on fire. Nicolas Cage is trying to rescue the little girl from inside of it, who is just staring at him, by the way.
So creepy. She is like, so he smashes the back window.
Yeah, he like takes off his helmet and smashes the back window.
Which is, he's thinking on his feet.
It's quick thinking.
So sorry to everybody. I'm gonna listen to this too. I hope everyone understands.
Yeah, we will suffer with you, and that makes it okay, I guess.
That makes it better. So yeah. Anyway, he smashes the back window, and then he looks down into it, and the little girl is just wide-eyed, staring straight up at all of this glass.
But also, not looking very scared about it either.
She's just fine.
Like she's not in danger right now.
like,
the car is on fire, dangling off a cliff.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, it was so dumb.
Yeah.
And then freaking I guess sorry. One of those tangents where I just make a bunch of sounds until my thoughts come together. Notice I just did that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I told you about that because now you're going to notice it from here on out.
Every time.
Anyway, so that was happening, but I guess the glass, when you smash it, it is like that shatterproof glass.
Is it?
So I guess she's technically okay.
I mean, yeah.
That's where that tangent was
I think it's funny that is what bothered you out of all of this. She's looking at the glass while it's being shattered in her face.
Stupid. It's
She
stupid.
was far enough away from it. Mostly I was just bothered about the fact that she just stared at him.
I guess, yeah.
And then the car exploded.
She didn't seem scared at all.
Yeah,
but
the
they
car-
had the car exploder. She's dead.
The car just exploded. So then Nic Cage is like traumatized after this. He's taken some time off of work. It's not very
traumatized.
specific as to like how long it's been since the event of the accident happened, but he's got like one of his cop friends comes to visit him. They're like, hey, are you turning in your badge? Or like, what's up? We're kind of worried about you. He's like, oh, well, it's whatever. And she brings him a letter.
I'm just having a really hard time.
Yeah, and so he gets a letter from his ex-fiance basically saying, hey, my daughter is missing. I need your help. Please come help me, right?
It's funny you say ex-fiance because this was definitely just a random letter. And did you know it was his ex-fiance?
He
at this
knew.
time? Did you know though?
I knew.
Did Isaac know?
I knew.
Derek did not know. I don't know how you knew that was his ex-fiance.
He knows who it is. It was a romantic interest to him.
What? I thought it was just a random letter. And he's like, oh, where did this letter come from?
Why would he be randomly like, who's sending me this information? He knew who sent it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's how letters work. They usually say, from...
But it didn't say from anybody.
I'm pretty sure he knew.
I'm going to go back and watch the movie again.
He wasn't just randomly like, oh, well, I'll dig into this, But so he gets a letter saying, hey, it's me. My daughter is missing. I need you to help find her. And encloses like a little picture of the girl who looks a lot like the girl who blew up in the car.
So much.
And that just keeps coming back.
Yes.
I can't tell you. I didn't count how many times we go back to that scene where the
impossible.
car blew up, but it was a lot.
Oh my goodness. And sometimes it was like the full scene. Too.
Yeah.
Like it would be the entire moment of the car crashing, him smashing the window.
Yeah, not even like quick cuts of like, oh yes, like little bits. You remember how this happened? It's like, oh, you saw that? Well, let's just show you again just to make sure you remember it because they showed us like the entire scene in
so much.
Yeah, it was a lot.
If I had the time, I would go back and actually count how much time that wasted because I'm sure it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It had to have been.
But see, so he goes back to he goes to his police office and he's like, hey, goes to like, I don't know, some dude in charge, I guess. I'm not really sure who it is.
I completely forgot about this.
Yeah. He goes there to show him the letter. He's like, there's no stamp on it, so that's weird, right? And then he goes, ooh, the plot thickens. I didn't even know you had a plot. And then Derek was like, that's me talking to this movie. But yeah, see, that's another thing where it's like he knows it's his ex-fiance because he's like, ooh, this is juicy information for you. Like, you have a connection to this. I didn't even know you had a life.
Yeah.
Really, though. So
silly.
He's considering going out on this island to help his ex. He like looked it up online and didn't find a lot of information about it. Yeah. All he knows is there's no phone service on it because his friend's like, why didn't you just call to figure this out? He's like, there's no phone service on the island. So
which is like a very much he's not going to be able to call anyone when he's on that island.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it makes sense. That is one thing I'll say that is harder about making like contemporary, more modern day horror movies. I agree. And I remember reading a thing about like there were some directors that shared this opinion where like having people with like the information to everything at their fingertips makes things very difficult to make like, you know, compelling like plot and mystery and intrigue to things when people can just easily Google something in an instant, right? And have all the information.
Well, it's like when we were talking to our friend Spencer, friend of the podcast, Spencer. Hi, Spencer. We were talking to, he's a writer and he's writing a movie right now. And we were just like riffing on ideas for horror movies with him and stuff. But that was one thing that came up is whoever ends up being the main character of his story, whatever it is going to have a phone.
Yes.
And how do you get around that?
Really though, because it's hard. It is such a thing that puts a big wrench in it. And it's like, well, now these plot devices that could work and could make for a fun story do not work solely because people could just point out, well, she has a phone. Why doesn't that work? You know?
I mean, we say it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we were watching Lord of the Rings the other day, and Frodo was climbing Mount Doom. And
and he could have like called an Uber.
He could have just called an Uber.
Yeah, it would have been so much easier.
There's a joke there. Urkheiber.
I think maybe we need to let that one cook a little bit.
It'll come back.
There's something there.
There's a joke there for sure.
Is there something you can do with Gollum? Gollumber? No.
Gollumber?
No.
No. Well, no. Gollum has got my number. Gollum has got my number.
Ubermere?
Ubermere? Oh,
This is nothing.
Boromir, the Uber driver.
But anyway, so like, yeah, while like he definitely made a point to note like there's no cell service on the island. I'm like, okay, I get why that's a thing. Like I do appreciate it because had he had a phone, he could have like while he was in danger on this island later on, he could have just easily called for help and then the movie would have been over. So yeah, I appreciate that. But
no, yeah, for sure.
With very little convincing, he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to the island.
Yeah.
Even the buddy cop at the office is like, why are you going back here? He's like, well, listen, like, I'm the only one she has, it's her daughter, what if she really needs me? So, like, he's just, nice guy Nicolas Cage. Except he isn't. His character is a dick.
I hated his character from beginning to end.
He is an asshole.
There's nothing. The only nice thing he did was pulling over those people at the beginning to give them their doll. Even then, he still turned on his lights and pulled them over.
Yeah, and they probably freaked out.
It was a panic.
Yeah. I would freak out. Yeah, kind of wild.
Silly Nick.
So yeah, while he's on the boat ride there, the only significant thing that happens is he sees a girl that looks like the picture on like the dock of the boat, right? He sees her from behind, and it's established at this point that he's kind of hallucinating because of being traumatized about the explosion.
Yeah.
Because as he's looking at the girl outside of this window, he's walking towards her, and then the semi truck flies past her, and there's not once a moment that this happens in the movie where it is not funny.
No,
it is like. They could not get the timing of it right to not make it like a comedic moment.
It was genuinely hilarious.
Yeah, it was too much for me.
Maybe they should have labeled this movie a comedy.
Honestly, though, it's like horror / thriller, mystery / comedy.
/ Nicolas Cage movie. Because that's a whole genre.
That's a genre on its own, absolutely. But yeah, so he finds like a seaplane pilot, and he's like, hey, I need you to fly me to this island. And the guy's going on about how like, absolutely not, this island is super private, and we respect that. He's like, oh, how about for me and my friend Benjamin here? And he hands him like $100 bill.
That sounds stupid.
And he's like, all right, cool. Here we go.
Then it turned into like I don't know, it felt very like sitcom-y.
Yeah.
When he handed him the money, he's like, okay, let's go.
All right, I guess hop on in the plane.
Right after being like very much, I'm not going to do this for you because I've earned these people's respect.
Yes, exactly.
And then he's like, oh no, I'll sell it out for a couple bucks.
He's like, I'll sell out, no worries. My fee is $100. You've wooed me enough.
Oh, sweetheart, you didn't have to.
Yeah, so they get to the island, is immediately met with like this group of like 4 older women, I want to say, and they're just kind of like mocking him the entire time. They're just kind of laughing at this like his normal city lifestyle, when they're like these Amish type people living out in the middle of nowhere.
Very crone type.
Yeah,
right?
just
like the 3 evil witches of the town.
Uh-huh.
Which then ends up being like the entire personality of every old woman on this town.
Yes.
But then these two guys drag up this big burlap sack
that is dripping blood and like
Full
wriggling
dripping
around.
blood. Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage is kind of like, what's going on with that sack there? You know, like he's like, your sack is dripping there.
Oh my God. One of my favorite things about this, though, was it was so obvious that the two guys holding the bag, the extras, were like pushing the blood out.
Yeah.
Because there were multiple times where it would like show the bag from the side with the blood dripping, and then you would see their leg like pushing up against the bag.
it. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Gotta make that blood drip somehow. But basically, the gist of this is like, they don't really take him very seriously. All of them are ignoring the fact that this girl even exists.
Yes.
Like any information. Yeah, exactly. Her name, what the hell is her name? Rowan, there it is. I was like, I know this.
Because she's rowing towards a better movie, which is why she wasn't there. She's rowing to stardom.
So they're like, Rowan, never heard of her. If she existed on this island, we would know, right?
Rowan, hardly know her.
And then he's like, well, she's Willow's daughter. That's the name of his ex. I'm just going to keep going because you're done with you. I'm taking reins of this podcast.
No, I'm here.
So they're mostly like withholding so much information and kind of like really making a point to be like, though she never existed. He's like, okay, well, do you know Willow? They're like, oh, right, Sister Willow. Yeah, I completely left my mind. Yeah, she's over that way.
Awkward.
So it's established at this point that they all refer to each other as Sister blank last name, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's and on that, it is mostly women at this place. There are not a lot of men on this island at all. So it was like all women there with a few men like scattered throughout, right?
Yeah, Emily was doing a little like D&D project while we were. That sounds so silly. Doing a little D&D project.
We're not nerds at all.
She's just doing her own thing. And so she was only looking up every once in a while, and it was like halfway through the movie. She's like, "Have there been any men in this town at all?" We're like, "Well, yeah, but like in the background."
Yeah, and that's
like,
pretty intentional. There's a point for that we'll come across later. But so he goes into like the local bar, which is like a bar in like tavern kind of thing, right? And so he goes there. That's where he meets Willow. She's working there. And then he's like, this is the first moment where I'm like, this guy's kind of a dick because he's like
I hated him.
making himself at home. He like taps his like something on the counter to make a big ruckus.
Badge.
Yeah, he like taps it on the counter. He's like, everyone, I need you to know that this is official police business, and I'm going to be talking to every one of you to get to the bottom of this, okay? And they're all just looking at him like, who the hell is this guy?
I closed my eyes for a minute there, and I thought Nicolas Cage was talking. I thought you just played a clip.
The spirit of Nicolas Cage took over my body there.
I saw.
And then, in addition to this, there's a bee on the counter, and he just, without hesitation, squishes it.
Oh, yeah.
Without a moment's hesitation.
Very rude. And the whole town looks everyone in the bar, shocked.
Yeah. And the bartender lady's like, no, why would you go and do a thing like that? He's like, sorry, I'm allergic.
Oh my gosh, that pissed me off. The three of us were just like, "Oh, you hurt an innocent little bee." Also, she makes a point to talk about the mead, and she gives him a glass of mead.
She's like, it's a delicacy on this island, and he like downs the mead too.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be good for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drank the Kool-Aid, but did he? Because nothing really
came of that.
Yeah.
I guess that was something that
That's
was
a
like
throwaway
that was like
plot.
a personal idea of mine that, like, you know, it was nothing that they really did. I was just like, I feel like he's gonna get poisoned.
Well, but like it definitely seemed like it, right? Like the way it zoomed in, the tense, the girl was looking at him all scared because
the bottom of the tankard was like see-through.
It made a point to show he was
he
actually
drank
drinking
it.
something.
Yeah. Either way, I'm like, I still feel like that was more just like my personal, like, I wanted this to happen and it didn't come to be. But yeah, nothing ever happened with the mead.
Come to be. Because it's a bees.
I don't understand. We haven't talked about bees yet. I don't know what you're
There was
talking
a bee on the counter. You just
about.
killed
Oh, damn.
one.
You're right. That bit that died.
Wait, what's that on tropes.org or whatever,
Yeah.
that website? What's the trope when there's like a plot line that happens but then never comes back again? Like the throwaway.
Like abandoned plot or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, like I think so, abandoned plot or something. That's just how I felt about the Kool-Aid. It really did feel like a setup that just never happened.
Yeah, never really went anywhere. So then the Willow, she like kind of passes by him as he's going upstairs to his room and gives him a note that's basically like, I'm being watched closely.
Yep.
You need to come meet me like at this safe spot out of town in like an hour, right?
Yeah.
So they meet up, and it's every time he meets with her, she's giving him like no information. Really, all she does is like, help me, please. That's really all it is.
Her performance in this movie was just overall disappointing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I still feel like I know her, and I wish that she had more because I feel like there was more for her to give. Every time it was just like she was either sad or falling asleep.
Yeah.
Like that was how I would describe every emotion she had throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And it was the same here. She's like, my child, they finally meet up. And she's like, my child is gone or missing and all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, show me something.
Right, exactly. Give him any like you've literally called an officer here to help investigate your missing child. Give him anything, you know?
And it's at this point that I found out that they were fiancés at
Yeah,
one point because she's like, well, I always keep my ring with me. And he's like, well, it's fair to give the ring back when you leave somebody.
Yeah, something like that. But really all she does is like acknowledge, she's like, yeah, these people in their ways, they're kind of odd is what she said. That's the word she uses.
Kind of odd.
Yeah, and it is established that she, like, this is her home. She moved away, like she escaped and like made it to wherever she met Nicolas Cage, right? And then she, for some reason, came back. And her reasoning was about like, I was afraid of, living a life with you and starting and blah, blah, blah. So like I ran back home and that's why I'm here. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Never really had a good reason as to why she would come back to this strange, like very culty place.
Or even a reason why she left, because it doesn't seem like she hated it.
Exactly, right? She can acknowledge that they're weird, but she's like, but they mean well.
Yeah, she's like defending them. So
Yeah.
understandably you would want to leave a cult environment, but only if you realize what's going on.
Yeah, and he's like, why didn't you call her dad to come help? She's like, because you're the only one I trust. People here are gonna try to mislead you, but so like don't listen to them. Like, okay, sure. And then he goes back to his room and we find out that he is allergic to bees. What does he use for that kind of stuff? Does he use epinephrine, like, an EpiPen?
No, he used Epi-B. Epi-B?
He uses a bee epi is what it says. Oh, that's probably science. Hello, yes, come in.
Yes, it's me. Just wanted to interject one real quick. It's
Hello,
me,
Science Jim, yes.
There's no such thing as Epi-B. That is stupid.
No.
And maybe there is, and I'm wrong, but probably not, because I did some research.
We looked it up for like 3 seconds.
3, maybe 10.
Maybe 10 even.
Epinephrine. It's just EpiPen. It's just EpiPens. And maybe there's some scumbag out there who's marketing Epi-B, but that's stupid. It's all the same chemical. Anyway,
Hey, that's a good idea for a business. TM.
Thanks, Jim.
But yeah, it
high horse.
just seems like they really, really want to drive the point home that he is allergic to bees. It really
Yes.
feels like Chekhov's bees, except they're like
Absolutely.
throwing it at you.
I mean,
right?
it was 100% Chekhov's EpiPen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you're watching a play in the first act, they have a gun and they're like, "I'm gonna shoot someone with this later," and then put it down. That's basically the
Can you
gist.
imagine if every time Chekhov's gun was used as a concept that happened?
Yeah.
I can't even think
It's
of
a
any
secret. It's like
examples.
what's like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like it's a secret tool that we'll use to help us later. Like that's basically the gist.
It's like
of
in
it.
Julius Caesar, like a bunch of people walk up and like all the guys who stabbed Julius Caesar at the end.
Yes.
Spoilers for that really old play.
Yeah, super old play.
And they all come up and grab knives. We will use these to stab Julius Caesar later on in the play.
Wink.
Wink. And then put them down.
So there's some shifty like conversations going on in the little pub downstairs from where Nicolas Cage is living. It's only worth mentioning because there are like these twin hags that are like, I think they're blind and they speak in unison.
Yeah.
But what they say something about the return of the Wicker Man. And it's the
Yeah.
only time they talk about it
Ever.
basically until the literal end of the movie.
Yep.
It's the title of the movie, but that is the only time it is used.
And I think it maybe because of my what do you call it? Naivete is I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the Bye Bye Man. There's gonna be a creature. I don't know why. I don't know why I got that into my head, but I got excited.
Yeah, you're
And
watching too much of like Children of the Corn.
I think so.
He
I
Who
wanted
Walks.
I wanted a Wicker Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a big flailing big dong Wicker Man.
Big flailing big dong?
I don't know why.
You know me, I love a big flailing big dong Wicker Man.
Anyway, move on.
Nic Cage has a bad time in the night. He has like nightmares and he tries to
He's a
chase a
scout.
girl he thinks he sees. But the next day, he finds out they have like a harvest festival for like fertility and all that kind of stuff. Help the crop that year, right?
Yeah.
Just, again, feeling very Midsummer here. But I mean, I can't Midsummer came after this movie. I'm
Yeah,
sure
of
there
course.
are lots of uses of like cultural harvest festivals. It's a real
Oh, yeah.
thing, but that's the only movie I can connect it to.
And I mean, the Midsummer Festival is a real festival too.
Yes,
So it's
yeah.
like all of these things actually happen in some way.
It's
Maybe
a-
not to this extent.
It's a real thing, but yeah, he notices that there are pictures each year of like this like young child decked out in flowers in the middle of like a flower circle for every year's like harvest festival, right? Some kind
Yep.
of like ritual, like special. She's the special girl, whatever it is. And he notices that the very last one is kicked in and the picture is missing.
Yep.
And that's weird, right? Again, it's like,
Super weird.
again, probably gonna be Rowan, the girl that's missing. Everything that like was trying to be like a clue or a hint towards the mystery was such an obvious, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of mystery going on here. You're kind of spelling everything out
It
for
was
us.
definitely a flashing neon sign
Yeah.
of like, she was here, this was her.
Yeah. But so again, it's like 90% girls at this place. Like we are not seeing a lot of men, and we're like I'm noticing a trend. Where, like I think it is intentionally that way. I think this is like like a matriarch kind of place, right?
I have a theory.
What's up?
I've had a theory now.
A theory?
Really long time.
Derek doesn't
like
have
10
theories.
episodes.
What's your theory?
Okay, my theory, when they took the script, it was like, some like Bible situation. They lost 20% of the script. That 20% of the script had all the men in it.
I'm all right with that. I'm glad that only 20% of the script contained men.
Yeah. I mean, we know for a fact it didn't, because Christopher Lee was a main character
exactly.
in the last movie.
That is like one of the biggest departures probably in this is like, the whole, they talk about their little island here as like a colony. There's a lot of like connections between like them and like bees and stuff like that. And so like the men are like the worker bees kind of stuff.
Drones.
Yeah, exactly. So like it comes back around to that. So he goes to find Willow during the day, and they're like, oh, she's up at the schoolhouse, right? And at the schoolhouse, nothing but little girls in the school. And he basically, he weirdly just helps, again, like kind of asshole Nicolas Cage, like helps himself in, interrupts their day of education.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he literally like walks in, is like, all right, little girls, I'm a police officer, here's my badge, pass around this picture of her. And then he like erases all of the chalkboard,
Oh my God, I hated
which had a
this.
bunch of words on it.
Yeah, she was teaching a
Yeah,
class.
she's like mid-teaching, and he erases in the middle of it, and it's just like, this is her name. She was one of your classmates, I guarantee it. And then like they're like,
you were kind of like half Isaac, half Nicolas Cage there. Could you do it? Could you pick one?
I'm so it's hard. The Nicolas Cage is like taking over me like a venom.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like my Jekyll and Hyde. It's Isaac and Nicolas Cage.
That's my secret cap. I'm always Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Whoa, what was that?
I don't, we're so far from the truth. So anyway, all of the, like, even, it seems like the teacher, Sister Rose, even gives all these little girls a look where she's like, don't spill the beans, don't say anything, right? And all of the little girls are also in on it, right? They're like, yeah. We're not going to say shit to this guy.
They do this stupid moment where he passes around a picture of Rowan to everybody, and they hand it, all three girls at the table, lean in, look,
Yep, they're like, nope,
Nope.
not us, no, don't know her.
It's so robotic.
So then the teacher's like, well, you've got your word. And she, like, understandably is kind of like curt with the man. She's like, I don't want him messing with my class. Get out of here, right?
Right.
Don't want to give him any information. But then as he's on his way out, he spots one of the desks is not taken. He's like, whose desk is that? And so he walks over to it and opens it up, and a crow flies out of it. Like, what the fuck? And then the little girls are like, we kept him in there to see how long he could take it. Like,
So
what
fuck.
the fuck?
Yeah, it was like a very Children of the Corn moment, right? Where all these kids are like psychopaths.
Yeah.
Never comes back.
Yeah, super weird. But then he's like, I bet her name is in the school record, right? So let me go check. And so he like fights off the teacher for a second as she's trying to block him. Yeah. But so he gets the school record book, right, for like attendance, and he goes back a couple of days, and there is Rowan Woodward, I think, and then her name's scratched out.
Yep.
He's like, okay, so you're all liars. And he starts yelling at the children, like, you're all a bunch of liars.
You're liars.
Yeah. And so then the teacher's like, we can talk outside of class. And so she like takes him outside, and then is the only person thus far to kind of give him information.
Yeah.
Like, she basically talks about how, like, she's like, if she existed, we would know, right? So they're basically completely denying she ever existed.
Yeah.
But then talking about, she basically confesses that she's dead and has been buried.
Yeah, this part really, she screwed up. She screwed up a lot.
A little, yeah.
Because she kept like letting it slip. She's like, well, she's gone now, and she'll be burned.
Yeah,
Like,
and then he's like, what did
she
you
will?
say? And then she's like, I said exactly what I meant to. She's been burned. So, like, the tense there, you know, like past and present, is like, it was strange to me.
But then another plot line that just got thrown away.
Yeah.
So he walks away from her. He comes upon another group of people. Like,
Yes!
on the
This
on
is
the
definitely
road.
a throwaway plot.
And all of a sudden, there's another woman there who looks exactly like the
It's
teacher.
the same actress.
And it's the same actress. And he says, didn't we just talk?
And she's like, no.
No,
I don't know what
didn't
you're talking
just
about.
talk. So, like, it made a point
So, like,
that they were the same.
It is established that there have been a couple twins throughout now, right?
I think it just got a little bit.
What did you get?
But
a
it's a
little bit?
theory, and we'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay. We'll remember your twin
This is
theory.
kind of a spoiler.
Okay, yeah. We'll get
I'm
back to
gonna write
that.
it
But
down.
yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. At this point, I was honestly expecting the twins was going to become a prevalent thing. It was like, oh, okay, maybe maybe Rowan's got a twin, and that will somehow play into it. But I don't know. It's strange. So yeah, basically all she says is there was an accident. Rowan is dead. And so she confesses that she's buried out by a church as per the request of her mother, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to the grave. And his ex-fiance shows up. She's like, that's not Rowan's grave. I know it's not. They're trying to trick us.
I really was expecting him to eat this dirt.
Yeah.
I don't know why. The way he was like examining a pebble. I'm like, what is this?
Licking his lips. He puts on a bib. He's like, got his fork and knife in his hands. He's like, yum, yum.
Dirt. I'm here for the dirt. Wait, that wasn't Nicolas Cage. Do you remember when Nicolas Cage was Dracula?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
That was like this year.
That happened, yeah.
That was a great performance from him.
Wow.
I'm trying to do count trivia as Nicolas Cage, but I'm neither of those people.
It was quite, like, that's a hard needle to thread. Dracula and Nicolas Cage.
Homework for you before the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I'll do the work.
Well, hold
you
on.
riff for a minute, I'll leave the room.
No. Hey, count trivia. Yeah, he hears me.
Is it time for me to use my gun?
No. Oh, good Lord.
I will use my stick gun.
No, count trivia. Yeah. Count trivia. When you come back later in the episode, will you do it in a Nicolas Cage voice?
You want me to do an impression of Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, moving on.
Oh, okay, the fuck me, I guess. So she lets it slip when talking about Rowan because she says our daughter, and so now it's confirmed that you've withheld this information from him the entire time. He is the dad.
Yeah,
it's like that. What's that TV show where they do the DNA test?
Maury.
Yeah, exactly.
You are the father.
Yep. I gotta say I enjoy watching the reaction videos to the guys who find out they're not the father. Yeah. And ways they celebrate.
Yeah. Whoa.
There's a get up and they're screaming,
Nicolas
running
Cage
around
was
the room.
Exact opposite of this. Actually, he was pissed. He weirdly was so mad.
Is it just me, or did it weirdly seem like he cares a lot less
Absolutely.
after he finds this information out?
I wrote a note about that.
I feel like it would like strengthen his resolve and be like, I am gonna try even harder. This is like, my flesh and blood.
Well, if she came from my cum, then I don't want to take care of her.
Yeah. So at this point, I wrote a note that just said, like, this movie is not necessarily bad so far, but it's just kind of boring and it's dragging. But, like, the acting is fine. Nothing's really making me roll my eyes at the movie. It's just like, it's not the best movie thus far, but it's not the worst either.
And I do feel part of that was just because it was Nicolas Cage. And, like, as a whole, his acting is by definition bad, but we love to watch it. So, like, that made it more bearable.
Really, though.
If it was any other actor, sans
they probably would have
Keanu
suffered.
Reeves.
Yeah.
If it was Keanu Reeves, it would be a great time.
Probably would have suffered
anybody
a bit more
else
for me.
Maybe Sean Connery. So anybody but those three. It's me, Sean Connery.
That's not bad.
I'm here to do the movie.
I feel like you're losing it now.
Anyway, move on.
I feel like that's Sean Connery's other brother, Bon Connery.
It's me, Bon Connery.
Pretty good. So he decides he wants to try to reach out, and it's established he doesn't have any cell service, right? So he tries to go to the plane because he sees it flying in, right? The seaplane from before. And so he was like, oh, cool, I'll go use the radio. And I was like, oh, there was a conversation between some of the girls where they were like, oh, we'll have to deal with the pilot for letting you back to this island, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they definitely did him in. For sure, he's dead,
Definitely
right?
did.
So he goes and sits on the dock, and the plane is like a little ways away from the dock, right? So he just sits there.
Do you remember the scene was
waits.
like 20 minutes?
It was so long, which is funny because he tells Willow, he's like, wait for me. And then he spends like 2 hours waiting for this plane for the pilot to show back up.
Even Nicolas Cage got bored because he fell asleep on the dock.
Yep.
And he has this dream where...
Well, he doesn't know it's a dream yet.
Oh, sorry. It's not a dream.
He starts hearing these sounds bobbing from under the deck,
which was actually a cool effect.
I liked this scene.
I liked it a lot.
In a sense.
Yeah. He looks down and he sees Rowan row in her little boat dead underneath the water. I'm going to keep bringing back that joke.
God damn you.
And he does the best swan dive.
He like dives sideways into the water.
Incredible.
Like the jump was stupid, but he actually falls into the water pretty clean, which was the weird part.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was probably
funny.
a stunt double, but it was still beautiful.
Oh man.
What if his stunt double's Keanu Reeves? Because Keanu Reeves does his own stunts.
That totally tracks. That makes sense.
Beautiful, wonderful. Anyway, so he's swimming underneath the dock and he sees Rowan like dead there and he goes up to try and grab her. And then he gets jolted awake and he wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm fine. I was asleep. He looks down.
JK, double dream.
Double dream.
He's holding her dead body now. Then he wakes up again.
It was like the most stereotypical comedy double dream.
The timing of it was so comedic where he's like half drowning underwater with his dead daughter. He's like, oh no. And then, oh, I'm awake. Oh no, my daughter's here. Oh, I'm awake again. Like... The timing was very funny to me.
And even he looked annoyed out of it. He wasn't like scared or anything. He was like, oh, again?
Like, what the hell?
What the hell?
So yeah, at this point he decides he's done waiting. He undresses a bit and then like dives to the seaplane.
Not enough, honestly.
Could have been more.
He could have been naked.
Yeah. And so he takes off, goes to the plane, and then he finds out there's no pilot in there and the radio's fucked up. It's all smashed to bits. Derek, why are you laughing to yourself?
Just keep going.
Oh my god. Whatever you did, you think it's very funny.
I just said Nicholas Cock.
That's what's got you.
It wasn't funny. That's why I told you to keep going.
Nicholas Cock in The Wicker Man.
The Dicker Man.
Nicholas Cock in The Dicker Man.
That's the porn parody.
Yeah, I bet could very well exist.
I mean, it probably does.
Wouldn't put it down. Wouldn't put it past it. So there's a doctor that lives on this island who is half doctor for the island / photographer. She's the only one that takes pictures for the island, right? So he goes to visit her. And then while he's visiting her in her office, he's looking through this book that's on her table. She's like, oh, you don't need to worry about that. She closes it. The title of the book, do you remember what it's called?
Yeah. Rituals of the Ancients.
Like, what the fuck, man? It's another movie that just doesn't understand subtlety.
No, that was another neon flashing sign. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but so she's just as shady as everybody else. So he's like, okay, well, I'll be on my way. Then he hides in the bushes while she leaves with these creepy beekeeper looking people.
I actually kind of almost liked the way that they looked.
Kind of like them a little bit, but it's the first time we'd ever seen them. Yes, I know honey is a major thing on this island, and they make a lot of it, so they must have a lot of bees. So of course they have beekeepers, but it was the first time we'd seen them thus far.
Yeah, for real.
And so he broke into the doctor's house while she was out, and then he goes through her back rooms. There's just a bunch of babies, little fetuses in jars, they're pickled in there.
This was icky.
Lots of those. A very creepy birthing room, I guess. But then he finds a copy of the picture of Rowan from the Harvest Festival that was missing, right?
Yeah.
And on there's a caption on it that says that it was the worst harvest on record. So now it's okay, something is wrong. They're upset with Rowan because of her sacrifice or something led to the worst harvest of all time.
I know how this movie ends.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So then he goes back to Willow, and then he's upset because he's like, why are you claiming you know nothing? You literally live on this island. Give me something. Why didn't you know about this festival and why Rowan was a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then she kind of talks him down, and then they have the most awkward kiss ever.
It was incredibly awkward.
Especially for two people who used to be engaged to each other, and then this is the first time they've kissed in 6 years.
I understand it's 6 years, but you didn't forget how to kiss for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've definitely kissed other people, right?
Super weird.
Right?
There was a really small scene where Nic Cage now has a bike out of nowhere, too. He got a bike. He looks so stupid on this bike.
Like Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, there's no way to look cool on a bicycle.
Nicolas Cage doing Pee Wee Herman.
Oh my god, I'm moving on. So there's a guy who's putting a bunch of logs onto a cart, and Nicolas Cage is like,
God.
"Oh, here, let me come help you, man. I got this." So he helps him put some logs on this cart. It was, and then the logs almost fall onto a dude, and he pulls the guy out of the way. And then instead of saying thank you or anything, the guy just kind of looks at him. And then Derek and I both at the same time were like, "Oh, the men of this island have their tongues cut out,
Absolutely.
or probably something, right? They can't talk."
Yeah, because it looked like he tried to open his mouth a little bit, and then he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. He almost muffled sounds coming from within him. Okay, he clearly cannot talk.
But then in douchebag form, Nicolas Cage just gets right back on his bike and rides away.
Yeah, so hold on. The guy was doing fine beforehand. Nicolas Cage is let me help you. Fucks it up,
makes it way worse.
And then doesn't help him put all the stuff back on.
Leaves.
Yeah, so he just leaves. And then where does he go? To the fields of bees and beehives.
And then he's so stupid.
Yeah.
This whole situation was so stupid.
He just drives straight into them. I don't understand what happened or why he thought this was a good idea. Then he's surprised that he's getting attacked by a shitload of bees.
And then he keeps tripping. He leaves his bike behind, just starts running, tries to pull his Epi bee out of his pocket.
His little bepinephrine.
And then he holds it in his hand as he passes out.
Yeah.
So stupid. Mm-hmm. That whole sequence was so dumb.
It's just so weird. But yeah, and again, every time he passes out, which happens a couple times in the movie, there's another scene where we see the car crash in the beginning.
Oh my god.
But now we keep seeing shots of he keeps seeing the girls in the car and then they disappear. So it's did this even happen? Did he have an episode? Because it was established in the beginning they never found the bodies of the girls that were in the car.
Yeah, that's right.
That was another thing. But yeah, I'm he seems to be doubting it at this point. But so now he's with Dr. Moss at Sister Summer Isle's house.
Yep.
And she's not to pun too hard, but the queen bee of this entire operation, right?
And her name in real life is Ellen Burstyn. Mm-hmm. She's actually a pretty prolific actress. She's very good. She even won an Oscar, I think, for Requiem for a Dream.
Wow.
So anyway, pretty
not
well-known.
For her performance in The Wicker Man?
I mean, no. And that's part of what is so disappointing about her performance in The Wicker Man is there was nothing. But anyway, when I saw her name, I definitely thought it was Ellen Bussin, and I got very excited. But no one actually had
Ellen
that name.
Bussin. No, instead she's the queen bee of this area. She comes out, she said, "You like jazz?"
Because she's a queen bee.
Yeah, you get it.
I get it.
So he goes to her and they're having a conversation and she's been like, expecting him to come. She's like, "You've been causing a lot of havoc on my island. Like I expected you to come meet me at one point, right?" He basically asks her for permission to dig up the body in that grave, right? Exhume the corpse, right? Because he's like, "Okay, you want me to believe that's Rowan, right? So I'm gonna have to like take this back for an autopsy."
Which at this point, why are you asking for an exhumation? You've done nothing to show that you're a police officer at this
Really,
point.
no, beyond holding a badge and a gun.
just do it, man.
Yeah, honestly, though, I'm surprised he asked for permission.
Yeah.
But she basically was like, "Okay, I don't care." And she's basically like, she has confidence that his suspicions are wrong, is what she tells him, right? So she's really not worried about it. And he's just like, he's such a sarcastic ass the whole movie. He's very not respectful of like their little society that they have here, which is really funny because I'm like, I guess he's a kind of a realistic character in the realm of this movie, right? Because if I were to encounter something so crazy, I would probably also be reacting in a similar manner, right? But he's awfully realistic here. But they're walking through like her gardens that have a shitload of bees in them, and he's not really avoiding them very well. Like all he does is cover himself up with his jacket, and like I'm like, aren't you allergic to these things? These things almost killed you a second ago.
So. In this moment, she gives us an exposition dump, which happens in every horror movie we ever watch.
Gotta have an exposition
no
dump.
software world building. They just have whatever the hell is going on in the movie and then a big pile of exposition. So I'll just give it to you really quick. So basically, this island is led by Sister Summersisle, who is an elderly woman who represents the goddess that they worship.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's basically like the goddess's like avatar.
Yeah, so she's like their prophet, or like one step higher than what a prophet would normally be in like normal.
Yeah.
Catholicism.
Anytime that Nic Cage has done something, they're like, "Do you have Sister Summerisle's permission to do this?" Like, everything has to go through her.
Exactly. And her ancestors left England to avoid persecution, but then they settled near Salem witch trials.
Wow.
So they were like,
Actually,
"Oh crap,
that.
we have this renewed persecution. We better leave again."
Yeah.
She explains that they're predominantly female because they choose the strongest stock, which avoids, him being like, "Why are there only men here?"
Yeah.
And that's basically it. They rely on the production of honey, and it is declining, which is why all the bullshit is happening.
Yeah, I mean, like the honey is declining because they keep mentioning how their crop last year was cursed, right?
Yeah.
And so they need a sacrifice, and that's kind of leading into where the movie's ending, right?
Okay, let's talk. Let's talk, Isaac.
I think you're going to talk about what I was also confused about.
The sacrifices.
Yeah, a little bit.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah.
Do they sacrifice someone every year?
Like that's fine, but what gets me is like the plot line that we're led to believe right now is like Rowan has been kidnapped and is being punished.
Yes,
because
this is where I was going.
Because she is the reason the crops were bad, right? But she hasn't been sacrificed yet.
No.
So like I thought the sacrifice led to a bountiful harvest. So
that's what I thought as well.
Exactly. So it's like the bad harvest happened before she's even been sacrificed. So why is she in trouble?
I really don't know.
Like that never really made a lot of sense to me.
Nope. And it is never really explained.
No.
I'm sure someone out there understands it. I don't.
Yeah, so it's basically like, in that whole exposition dump, she basically says, most of the people, the superior stock of our people are women, right? And the men serve as essentially literally the worker bees of the place, right? The breeders.
If I understand it correctly, they have their festival every year where they don't sacrifice someone. But it's like they have like the chosen girl to be like the one who stands there and is the whatever the flower queen or whatever in Midsummer was, right? It's that she's the leader of the ritual, and then they don't maybe they sacrifice animals or something.
Yeah,
but
I'm not really sure.
But that's I think.
Yeah,
does that sound right?
Who knows?
And then she fucked it up.
Yeah,
she's a little idiot kid named Rowan.
They're angry with her. And they're gonna kill her about it, I guess. But so then he goes back to the gravesite. He goes to dig up the dead daughter. Guess what? She's not in the coffin. It's just one of her dolls.
Yeah.
And it's all burnt up. And so then right next to where her body is buried, we didn't mention this earlier, but there's like a cellar underwater.
Yeah, it's like a little crypt cellar.
There's a cellar underground, but the Willow's like, "Oh, that cellar was flooded, so like we don't use that place anymore." And Nicolas Cage even makes a line where he's like, "It's got a new lock on it." So like again, it was another like, okay, really point a neon sign like, "Go down here, something suspicious going on down here," right?
Yeah, very
so
true.
when he's digging up the body, he thinks he hears a little girl whimpering down there. So he breaks in, even though I don't remember him breaking the lock. Do you?
No, he just like fiddled with the door, or not even fiddled. He just kind of opened it.
Yeah.
So either it was a setup and they left it open,
Probably definitely that.
or probably definitely they forgot to record the part where he broke the lock.
So either way, he goes down in there, and it actually, so it's like half flooded. There's a level that you can like stand on and stuff, but underneath it, under this like trap door thing, you can get to the underwater part. And he finds Rowan's sweater. That has been like a key thing for her, right? And so he goes down underneath the water to try to find some stuff. Then some beekeeper person locks him down under there, like puts a heavy something
I didn't see
over
that
the thing.
coming at all.
Oh no, he got trapped.
Oh, what?
And then he just stays there all night, treading water, trying not to die, and screaming for help.
Yep.
Until in the morning, Willow shows up, and she's like, "Oh, here, let me save you. I'm so sorry this happened." Yeah, it's really stupid. So like, he's not drowning down there. He's just like, there's a bit of air between like the floor and the water level, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't die, but. Yeah, it's really funny. And again, while he's doing that, playing through the car explosion for the 12th time in this movie,
God.
but this time it shows a shot of like the cop friend that visited him in the beginning, and she like explodes into a bunch of bees.
Right. Which was kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Now your movie comes in stunning 3B.
Oh, that's right.
And now in
if
stunning
you can
3B.
believe it.
You
the
can-
3B screen.
3B screen. What other B jokes can we make?
I think I said that this movie had a B, like a score of a B.
Yeah,
but I don't like that one because it's not true.
if you thought this movie could get any worse, you would be wrong.
There it is.
I don't know. That's nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So he's basically at this point, he's like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. I'm like, he just starts running towards danger now. At this point, he like goes back to Sister Summer Isle's house and sees like this creepy dude sitting in a bed who just kind of like stares at him, covered in a bunch of bee stings, and just kind of blank eye stares at him. There's another room he goes in where there's just this girl naked, covered in bees, just smiling at him. That never really went anywhere. It was just kind of creepy.
And then the queen was sitting in her bed,
which looked like a
a big
bed made
throne.
for like a queen, like an elf queen is like the vibe that I got.
Oh,
from
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
The rest of this was very Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So,
But
it makes sense.
so then he's just like frantically looking for help. He goes to all the men that are still in the tavern. None of them talk to him again. Like, I don't think they can talk.
No, yeah.
And then he starts going like house to house,
Oh my
going
goodness.
to all of the children who are now wearing these kind of cool looking like animal masks, like these
loved the
paper-mache masks. I thought they looked really cool. But now I don't know why he thinks this will be the case, but now he's convinced that Rowan is going to be in this mixture of girls hidden in one of these masks, right?
I'm still convinced they filmed this before deciding Rowan was missing.
Yeah, it's like she's been missing this whole time. Why do you think suddenly she's just going to be in the crowd now?
That be. And like it was very annoying to watch.
Because he's basically just harassing children as he's
like
like knocking their masks off their face to make sure they're not Rowan, right? But it's I really didn't know what he was looking for. As he's running around though, he does find the body of the pilot from the seaplane, and he looks kind of fucked up.
It
Like
was
his
gnarly.
eyes have been gouged out, his mouth is sewn shut with like this tweed stuff, like this this nasty
wicker.
Yeah, some weird gross thread. Sewed his mouth shut, and then also you can kind of see it, but like his hands have been chopped off.
It seemed like the birds were pecking at him. Like they left him out for the seagulls.
But so then he goes back to the tavern where Sister Beach, who's the one who runs the tavern there, is talking with the lady about talking with another lady about like basically, did you handle the shut up? I see you laughing about Beach. You're an idiot.
No.
So the two of them are having a conversation about, basically doing away with the pilot. She's like, yep, I got that covered. And then talks about how she, every year for the festival, has a bear costume, right? Then Nicolas Cage walks in and doesn't waste a fucking moment, just knocks her out one swing. I actually really love that.
It was fantastic.
Because I feel like too many movies like this take the time to like have some weird monologue or talk between the two of them. Like, get to the point. Just take her out.
He gets
you
right
know
in
she's
there.
guilty of something.
It was fantastic.
So yeah, then, of course, he takes her bear costume.
And then in the interview later, Nicolas Cage was like, yeah, so anyway, I started punching. Get it? Because it's like that meme with Danny DeVito where he's like, hey, I started blasting.
That's a stretch, but I see where you're trying to get to.
Punching.
So the ceremony is going on
was
now.
funny.
They're going to make an offering to the goddess. Their costumes are pretty great, honestly. Some of them go even past the mask.
Yeah.
Like there's one girl who has like a raven mask, but then also like a raven costume too.
It was
like this
pretty cool.
Dress made up of like black raven feathers. I actually really
I
liked
think most
it.
of the budget went to this scene. Like this whole scene.
Yeah. Nic Cage in a bear costume looks so funny.
It was the greatest
They're
thing.
in like this procession going towards where the ceremony's going to happen, and he just like bounds towards them from the woods in his bear costume. It was so funny.
You can tell by the way he ran that it was him. Too.
Yeah.
Like, it was definitely not like any other person.
Terrible
it was
disguise.
100% him.
Right? But then he finds Willow in the procession. He's like, I thought I told you to wait. She's like, are you kidding me? I have to go to this. I'm like, I don't understand her. Can we trust her even? I don't know what's happening.
So dumb.
Yeah. But then, spoiler alert, not spoiler alert, big surprise, Rowan is the sacrifice, right? There she is, tied to a totem pole, like she's totally prepped and ready to be a sacrifice, right? And there's just like nothing climactic about this movie. He literally bounds towards her in his bear costume, knocks out the girl who's in front of him. Again, just another like one swing, she's out.
Yeah.
And then cuts Rowan down and then just starts running away. And again, like this should be a pretty climactic moment where like the cult is chasing after him as he's running away with his daughter. No. It's pretty boring, honestly.
It was boring.
Yeah.
It was just so anticlimactic.
Yeah. And there's one scene in the middle of it where his phone starts ringing. He gets service for like 3 seconds. And all he does on his 3 seconds of phone service is goes, oh, you, help me. And then he loses
This made me
service.
so mad. I ranted about it for like 10 minutes. I
Rant
won't
about
on here.
Rant about it now. Go for it.
It just, okay. You imagine yourself, you're lost. You're lost in a bee colony off in the middle of nowhere. You don't know what's going on. You're pretty sure you're about to die.
I didn't know what
right?
the fuck was going on. I haven't been sleeping at night.
Because my wife got flipped around by that swing dancer, that party.
My wife listened to this guy's Nicolas Cage impression 8 times.
I swear I listened to it 8 times. All right, I think you should leave meme. Oh my God. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyway, it really bothered me.
It really bothered me.
It really did, though, because he was like, he gets on the phone, he finally calls someone, help me please.
No
and then the
useful
phone stops.
information, yeah.
Like, you had that 20 seconds. You could have been like, hey, I went to that island. I need your help. This is
exactly.
me, Nicolas Cage. But no, he's an idiot.
No, nothing.
He's
so then
stupid.
Rowan is kind of leading him through the woods because he's looking a little lost, and she just keeps pointing. And he's like, Rowan, slow down. Like, I can't catch up to you. And then guess what? She just runs straight back to the cult.
Yep.
And at first I was like, oh, what a stupid little girl. And then it clicked. I was like, oh.
yeah, she was in on it.
This was all a part of the plan. Everyone was a part of it, even Willow, the wife. So this was all a plot to get him here. Apparently, a part of their ritual thing that they need, they require a stranger who is connected to them by blood.
Yes.
So he is connected through, like, Willow and Rowan, his daughter, right?
Yeah.
And so every part of this was orchestrated to make him the sacrifice after all of this, right? And, like, there's a couple people that show up that were like, oh, shit, they were there at the beginning. Like, for instance, the cop that came to his house to talk to him.
Yeah.
She was a part of it. She was there. Even the mom and the daughter that were in the car that exploded were also there.
So literally the entire movie was pointless.
Yeah.
This whole traumatizing event that he had and that keeps flashing
that they kept
back.
showing.
That they beat to death.
That he even started to doubt even happened.
It didn't.
It didn't
like
happen.
nothing
Even, it
was
so dumb.
Stupid.
But yeah, basically everything that happened, every single move that went on in this movie was carefully orchestrated by them to get him exactly here in this moment to be their sacrifice, right? And so he tries to take out his gun and shoot them, but guess what? They took the bullets out of his gun, so couldn't do that. So they overwhelm him, he's subdued, and now they're preparing him for the sacrifice, and it's like they prop his legs up on a couple of logs and just take a hammer straight to the knees.
So brutal.
One at a time. Like it was painful to watch.
I have a feeling that most of this was them trying to replicate what made the end of the first movie great.
Oh, yeah.
But since we haven't seen it, I don't know. That's just my speculation.
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments.
But yeah, so they break both of his legs, and then they put this like basket, like wicker helmet on him with a hole in the top of it, and then just funnel a shitload of bees into it.
And thus begins the terrible bee CGI.
The best scene in the movie, but the worst CGI
ever.
Yeah.
And this is that meme, right? It's the bees! The bees!
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it was great. It was hilarious. It was fun to watch.
Loved it. Definitely still probably the best scene in the movie.
Absolutely. I mean, and not even just because it's funny, but because it's just the best scene in the movie.
Honestly, they're just the highest energy, the most entertaining of everything.
But the bees on his face, they were just copied and pasted. They had one CGI
for them
bee,
looks so bad.
and they just copied and pasted it 1,000 times.
They didn't even use a lot of CGI in this movie at all. Couldn't they have spared the extra thousands of dollars, however much, to
or
make
at least
this part look good?
Find a way to make it look good practical. Like,
honestly, though.
Oh. Sorry, I started feeling really nauseated at those bees.
But yeah, they looked really bad. But they brought him back to life with this little bee EpiPen. And at this point, I'm like, why? Why do you need to torture this man? Honestly, it's like he's dead. Let him be dead. But so, remember that large totem man made out of wicker on fire that we've been expecting this whole time? It's on the poster for the movie.
Yeah.
They never mentioned Wicker Man until the very end of the movie. It's finally here.
Well, here it is. It's a
Yep.
big Wicker Man.
Big Wicker Man. It's full of animals, too, for some
hated
reason.
that.
That was a strange thing. Yeah, so
Really
they have to
hated
burn
that.
him inside of it along with a bunch of animals.
Could have done without the animals.
Yeah. So they basically tie him up to this pulley system. They lift him all the way up to the top where he's trapped, like, in the head of the Wicker Man.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of liked. And then, unfortunately, the one who lights it ablaze is his daughter. Little
Yep.
Rowan walks
Should've
up with
cabbed
this
about it.
torch on fire and just drops it. And yeah, the rest of the movie is mostly just Nicolas Cage doing what he does best, yelling.
No!
As they're all just chanting, the drone must die.
Stop
as he goes up in flames, you know, like the drone bee. So, yeah, the cultists win. Fatality.
And then cut to black.
Well, yeah, because there's a kind of a neat ending shot where the head of the Wicker Man topples off of the
Yeah,
body
I did
straight
like that a
onto
lot.
the camera and just like burns until it's all black. I thought that was kind of a neat ending
did like
shot.
that a lot.
Yeah. Definitely
then-
one of the better ending shots we've had out of the movies on this podcast.
And then unnecessarily, there is an alternate ending, which
Yeah,
apparently was
Derek-
the original ending.
Derek knew about this because he was upset. He's like, there's more to the movie. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there isn't. And then
No,
he's like,
yeah.
no. So apparently in theaters, it had an attached ending. You want to tell them about that?
Well, and it didn't. I'm just now learning
Mm-hmm.
that in the original version, it didn't show his legs being broken and him being tortured.
Oh, really?
That wasn't in the original.
Wow.
And then they had him being tortured with the bees, and then not the true ending.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get all the collectibles throughout the movie, you unlock the true ending, where it says 6 months later. You see Willow and Honey. They go to a bar. They meet two policemen, and then they go home with them, basically saying that the cycle is continuing. Which I mean, it's pointless. It doesn't need to be there. I think the movie ending with Nicolas Cage dying was fine, but the whole idea of the cycle continuing, I personally like. I like it when horror movies just continue the cycle.
Yeah.
A la, whatchamacallit, Sinister.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when it continues. So in this movie, you had like maybe 2 jump scares.
Yeah, really not a very jump scare heavy movie.
And then you technically had 2 deaths.
Yeah.
Because one of the pilot
The
guy who
pilots.
died for no reason.
Yeah, and then
Nicolas
That's
Cage.
a strange thing that really bothered me. It's like if this entire thing was orchestrated, all of this was supposed to happen. Were you not planning for the seaplane guy to drive him here? Why did he have to die if he
Yeah, I
did
don't know.
what you wanted him to do?
pretty messed up.
It didn't make sense to
He
me.
was just like a nice guy who was stingy. And then all those bees and those animals that just did not need to die.
That's true. Yeah, there were a lot of animal death in that final fire for no reason at all.
All right, what were your expectations?
So for me, I thought it was going to have a convoluted plot line that would leave me scratching my head. And I mean, yeah, absolutely pretty convoluted, but still pretty predictable at the same time.
Yeah, it was.
There was nothing that happened throughout this movie that like shocked me. It wasn't like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. It was all like it was pointing towards where it was going the entire time, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah. I thought the bee scene was going to be the highlight of it. I mean, yeah, definitely the peak of the movie, right? Some Inception style twist ending. I mean, not quite. It wasn't really what I was expecting, but I mean, the twist was, everyone was tricking him right from the start. So like, there was a bit of
Yeah.
a twist to it. I can't say it wasn't. And then I said Midsummer cult vibes, but with not the Da Vinci Code, the Da Vinci Cone or the National Treasure more
Vinci
accurately.
Cone.
Those vibes, I think 1000% accurate pretty much with this one is kind of the way it felt for me. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I was just going to say, like, if I ever open an ice cream store,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Cone. That's a good, write that down. That's a
I
good
wrote it
idea.
down. I wrote it down with my mouth.
My last expectation was just like more mystery thriller than a horror movie. And I mean, unless you're afraid of bees, yeah, it's
There
more
was
mystery
nothing-
thriller
there was
than
nothing
horror
horror
than
to
this
this
one.
movie.
So for me, my surprises in it were that I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think as a horror movie, I disliked it, but as a thriller movie, I was a little surprised that I like kind of enjoyed it there. I'm really in this weird middle ground where I'm not so sure about
Yeah,
that.
I get that.
I really liked the animal masks. I thought they were kind of creepy looking,
yeah.
but also really well designed. They just looked cool in general. I'm bummed that they were only in like the literal last like 7 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And then the bee CGI was like way worse than I was expecting.
Oh my
Because like I
goodness.
mentioned earlier, there were not a lot of uses of CGI in the movie. So like I thought that the one use of it would be pretty good, and it wasn't. It was very, very bad. And then another surprise was that the music fit well. It never like stood out to me, and I think it really served its purpose. So like, yeah. What about you? Your expectations?
Yeah, so insane plot, just to tease emotion. Absolutely. I mean, the whole time he's just traumatized for essentially no reason, and the viewer is constantly getting this Pixar style depressed whiplash.
Yeah.
is what I coined it, because it's
Pixar
true.
style depressed whiplash.
Yeah, because it's like you go from watching the movie to all of a sudden being reminded you're supposed to be sad.
Yeah.
Constantly.
They have to keep
right?
reminding you.
You have to be reminded that these characters are very sad. Nicolas Cage, just that. He was spectacular. No notes.
just doing what he does best, always.
Weird pagan cult stuff. Yeah, only in
Yeah.
the last couple minutes though, and it was cool masks.
Yeah, I liked it.
Stupid effects. Those bees were so dumb.
They were so bad.
It's the only effects in the movie.
so bad.
Way too long. I felt that just the conversations were too long.
Yeah.
The one-on-one conversations in this movie took so.
They could have either been
was like this.
Yeah, they could have either been cut entirely or just sped by so much. So much time was wasted.
And
just
a lot
in the
of them,
conversations.
a lot of them could have been combined together. Like
Yeah.
every time he talked with his old fiance.
Yeah, he kept like,
that
having
all
weird
could have been
meetups
one
with her
scene.
over and over again. I'm like,
Could have been
just
one
give
scene.
him the information to start. Like, is there some kind of timeline for when he needed to be exactly in a certain place? I don't know, but yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't too bad. And then for my surprises, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I actually just didn't hate it. I thought I loved the set design. I thought the island they were on was very nice.
Yeah.
I really liked
gorgeous island.
Yeah, I would love to live there. I liked the Wicker Man at the end. I thought he was very, very cool. I had a silly good time.
Yeah.
Is what I wrote. And yeah. What's your score?
For me, before we reach our verdicts here, I want to know, what was your twins thing that you were talking about?
Oh, my twin theory.
Yeah, because I'm curious.
Yeah,
now.
because throughout the whole movie there are twins everywhere,
and it never comes back.
Like the girl and her sister. My theory, they a couple times mention incest.
Oh, okay.
Or not necessarily incest, but like they are only reproducing amongst themselves.
Right.
So I was kind of thinking maybe the twins thing was a way to show that they're all related somehow.
I guess that could probably track.
I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. Like, I mean, yeah, they're kind of inbreeding.
Yeah.
Right. They can only breed amongst themselves.
Right.
So
it's
they're going
bound to happen.
end up all looking the same.
Yeah.
So maybe they aren't twins. Maybe that was just a way to show
genetically
they're all
going to start looking the same as each other. Yeah.
Or another theory, they're lazy with their casting.
Maybe that's or maybe it was just an abandoned plot line. I don't know.
Or maybe that's a plot line from the original movie.
Could very well be. So the verdict for me, I said it was thrillerable. It's like actually not an atrocious movie. I was left wishing they'd gone a different way with some of the things, but really my biggest gripe is about the fact that it was really not much of a horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
And again, like in where we look it up, it says horror / thriller mystery, right? It's like, I feel like the thriller mystery should definitely come before horror in this one for sure. I don't know if that distinction makes a difference for me, but like it feels like an instance where that slash between them was a little like I don't know. It shouldn't have existed and should have been, you know, the other way around. Like it should have been swapped.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
That's for me. So like I didn't hate it. I actually had a decent time. I don't feel like I wasted my time watching this one. I'm not upset about it, but I definitely don't feel like it was much of a horror movie at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What about you?
Cageable.
Come on now. Do you have any more for that? Is that it? Just one word, cageable?
No, like I agree with you. It wasn't a horror movie because like my original score was Horrorble because I thought like it was a movie that I would say, hey, you like bad horror movies? This is one you should check out, right? But
I would have given it the same
horror.
had it been more of a horror movie.
Yeah.
I would probably give it the Horrorble rating.
So cageable. Because it's Nicolas Cage.
Cageable.
So it's worth watching as a Nicolas Cage movie. It has spawned memes that are very deserving. There were a couple scenes in this movie that I felt like should have been memed more. Like different line deliveries I can't even think of because I was laughing too hard. But you get what I mean.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So yeah. All right. Who's that at the door? Is it
my time? I've been working. I've been practicing.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
Let's see what you got.
Okay. Hello, it is me. It is Trivia Cage, and I am here to give you all of your the trivia. Is that good? Is that anything?
I'm gonna throw some bees at you now.
Oh no! Don't do it. I am allergic.
Oh, it's the bees.
Take a trivia, please.
All right, we got the trivia cards. I don't know why I pretended to take cards from you.
So, trivia from our wonderful Count Trivia Cage now. The film was originally rated 18 for extreme violence, disturbing images, language, and thematic elements. But director Neil LaBute wanted a broader audience, so they cut most of the scenes out, some of which have been included in the unrated version of the DVD to deem it a 12. However, there were about 4 minutes of additional cut footage that are not shown in the unrated DVD version.
Dang.
Yeah, so
there was
apparently there was like a much harder version of this movie that didn't come to be, which I think is fine. I don't feel like it needed to be, honestly.
No, we did watch the that version.
Yeah, honestly. So really, like, it wasn't too terrible.
I don't
it
feel
was
like
still
it was that
rated
bad.
PG-13, and like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that was it didn't do it any disservices, right?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage objected to the criticism that the film was unintentionally funny, saying that he and Neil LaBute knowingly made the picture an absurdist black comedy and that it should have been seen and judged as such.
Really?
So apparently it was supposed to be
he was in on it.
intentionally funny. But I feel like that's just something you say after something you don't mean to be funny comes off as funny. They're like, oh, we meant to do that the whole time. Yeah. It's funny. It's a comedy. Of course it is.
It's like when like you hear Tommy Wiseau talking about The Room, and like sometimes they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, it was meant to be this way,"
which
like,
is just absolutely not the
was
case,
it though?
right? The film is dedicated to late musician Johnny Ramone, who introduced Nicolas Cage to Robin Hardy's original The Wicker Man in 1973. So yeah, kind of dedicated to him, which I thought was kind of cool. We mentioned this a little bit earlier, but much of the dialogue, perhaps over 80%, is word for word the same as in the original Wicker Man from 1973,
That is insane.
albeit sometimes in a different context. And like, I haven't seen Wicker Man 1973, so I can't say for certain. That was just something I found on the internet. Could be true, could not be, but it feels right. Maybe.
Yeah.
The second horror film in Nicolas Cage's career after Vampire's Kiss in 1988.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one. Is
which
it bad?
makes
Can we watch it for the podcast?
Which makes sense for the Count Trivia to do his little Cage accent. During the ending where Edward is immolated inside the Wicker Man, Rowan actress Erica Shea Gare was... sorry, what? You got excited.
It's bad.
It's bad?
It's bad.
So you're telling me we have another Cageable movie in the
do.
list?
It's technically it's kind of like some people don't think it's actually a horror movie.
Oh,
though.
okay. I guess just having vampires in the movie does not necessarily make it a horror
But
movie.
I mean, that trivia makes it. What I think that we should watch. This
Okay,
movie.
so maybe you'll catch us watching Vampire's Kiss 1988.
I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is at 63 though.
Oh, that's pretty high. I don't know.
I may need to just do my own research.
Just do it on our own. So anyway, the actress that played Rowan, Erica Shea Gare, was very reluctant to carry the burning torch and act the scene of her burning her father. Apparently she had a hard time with that. So according to the director's commentary, the filmmakers lied to her, telling her that Edward would find a way to escape in order to get...
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they basically had to lie and say, he'll be okay, and that's how they got her to do the scene. But she didn't really want to. Isn't that kind of sad?
So vampires. I promise I'm listening to the trivia.
Wait a minute. The Vampire's Kiss is the one where he has the
bug-eyed.
You
look.
don't say? Is that what it is?
Don't say.
Where he looks like a crazy man?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I need to watch this movie.
I'm curious if that's much of a horror movie at all. According to tvtropes.org, it's got a whopping, I think I counted 38 different tropes.
Oh my goodness, that makes sense.
Including creepy twins, downer ending. They actually do have Chekhov's gun in here, and that is listed as Edward is allergic to bees. He is going to an island famed for its honey. So, I mean, absolutely makes sense.
Come to my island for my honey.
So, so there are lots and lots of tropes in that one, a whopping 38 of them. Like I said, if I counted correctly, they're not
That is
listed by number.
bonkers.
But yeah, that is our trivia. Thanks to Count Trivia Cage. Thank you very much for all of that.
What a good episode. What are we watching next week?
Was it my turn?
It's your turn.
It's my turn to pick the next movie. Mom said it's my turn.
I think you do that every episode.
I love it.
Mommy said it's my turn.
My turn to play on the Xbox. Okay, so our next movie is going to be Spookies from 1986, sitting at a whopping 29%. And honestly, folks, I don't know. I'm feeling a little optimistic about this one. It looks stupid, crazy. It's got a fun-looking monster in it, cool practical effects. So I'm here for it, honestly.
And kind of moving forward, we're gonna try something a little bit different. We're not gonna stick so strictly in that 30%. We're gonna kind of move out of it every once.
There
in a
have
while.
been a couple movies that I feel like this fits for this, because I don't want us to move into the realm of watching good horror movies.
No, of course not.
But
That's
I think
not our podcast.
I think there are definitely some movies that people do think are bad. They're not necessarily rated critically on Rotten Tomatoes, for instance, below a 30%, like we've been keeping ourselves at.
So in the encyclopedia a la that was Horrorble. I think we're gonna stretch our definition a little bit of what makes a horror movie bad.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes
we're
they're
still
just,
figuring it out.
They're just horror movies that people hated, and sometimes other people liked them.
Yeah, exactly. We've been
can
doing
even-
this for a while now, but
Yeah.
I think it's okay. To,
Yeah,
to
we should even
step
try to
outside.
see if there's ones where I love and you hate, or vice versa, and try to talk each other into them. I think
That's a
that'd be kinda
fantastic
fun.
idea.
Yeah,
and that may be my pick for next week. I'm keeping it a secret, but that may be my pick for
keeping
next.
secrets from me.
I'm keeping secrets from
your
everybody.
co-host of the podcast.
You may. You may just have to wait. But anyway, on that note, oh no, it's the bees.
The bees! The bees! I'm doing it too!
Oh,
Leslie!
shut up, Count Trivia. I love you. Come over, give me a kiss.
Mwah.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Goodbye.